Welcome to the Mox Life Show, where we help you create a mindset for easier prosperity and success so that you can live a Mox lifestyle. And on today's show, we have an amazing show lined up for you. We have Dr. Randi Kamen, who is an internationally known psychologist, and she's going to be talking about how to transform your mind to enable your inner superhero. And we have our very own Ed Troxel, our biz techologist, who is talking to us about how to use live streaming to build your business. That is such an amazing tool to use. And then, of course, before all of that, we have our Mox Life tip of the day. So get your notepad and your pen and let's get to work. Have you ever been guilty of being a yes butter? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, I joined this organization in our community as a board member, and I was on what's called the development committee. And at that point, we had a director, and every time people would bring up ideas, she would say, yes, but it's not going to work because blah, blah, blah. And she would give us all these different reasons of why whatever our idea was going to fail. And what happened was ideas stopped coming in. No one started sharing anymore because we knew that it was going to be crushed anyway, so why even bother? My point is, all you have to do is say yes and. Write that one down. Yes and. So for instance, if someone suggests, you know what, I think it'd be so much fun to ride pigs to our next winery event for our organization, what we would say is, yes, and maybe we could ride bicycles. And what happens is this creativity and these ideas start flowing. Of course we can't ride pigs to anything, but it just gets the ideas flowing and people start feeding off of each other. It's way more fun and it's way more positive. And that's what we're always talking about, is that positive thinking. But if you want to have more success in your organization or as a leader, remember the yes and philosophy. All right, coming up, we have Dr. Randi. You want to stay with us because she's going to be talking about how to bring that superhero in you out. I am so excited to bring you Dr. Randi Kamen all the way from Martha's Vineyard. She is here with us. She's an amazing woman who I've gotten to know over the last year or so, and she has a book. She has taught at Harvard. She has taught at Boston College. And honestly, you've had quite the thriving career in psychology. And so here's where I want to start with you, Randi. You went from being this amazing, world-renowned psychologist, speaking at all these amazing universities around the world, to now you're a coach. You went from having this huge title as a psychologist, although you still do, but now you're known as a coach and you host retreats and events. Tell me about this a little bit. What brought you to do this?
Well, first, Dory, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your show. And I love what you said about yes, but, because I believe that when you say but, you shut other people down, and yes and is all about possibility. So I just love that you brought that to people's attention. And what changed my professional life around was a few things. I wanted to have more flexibility in my life. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be with my grown children more. And more importantly, in some ways, I also, well, not really more importantly, but I wanted to make a bigger impact in my work. Mm-hmm. And I felt that seeing people one-on-one all day, day in and day out, was the slow boat to China in terms of legacy and making a really big difference and really having influence and being able to teach people the system that I spent 35 years developing. So I thought online groups and retreats in various locations would be an awesome way to reach many, many more people, which is the case. So I'm still speaking at universities. I still teach at Harvard. I teach at various locations. I'm not faculty, permanent faculty at any of these places, but I speak in different venues. But I feel like the impact is much greater now.
It's the best of both worlds. And I want to just back up a little bit, because you were talking about how you went from one-to-one counseling to now trying to serve more people to make a bigger impact. And I have a ton of clients who come to me wanting to do the same thing. As women, we want to give. We want to make more of a difference. And so I'm glad that you brought that up, because you had a pretty good little situation. And the fact that something in you said, I want more, which is what so many of us do. And that's what this show is all about. So let's dive in there. You have a book. Tell me again the title of your book.
It's called Behind the Therapy Door, Simple Strategies to Transform Your Life.
Okay, great. So this is your world. And you help women use their mind, manage their minds to release this inner superhero that we have kind of hiding there. So tell us how you do this. Are there some tips that you can give to us and explain it a little bit?
Absolutely. I have some great tips, but I want to say one other thing. Another thing about therapy as a psychologist is I did not want at this stage in my life to focus so much on going back in one's life. I still go there to gather information, but my interest is moving people forward so that they can create extraordinary lives, rather than looking behind at what's past, at all the trauma and sadness and grief and disappointment. And now I'm into, okay, let's talk about that. And now we're moving on. How do we create greatness and possibility? That's why I love the but and, because the and is loaded with possibility. So some tips that I want to talk about, I'll give you a few, about how to really manage your mind. Because so many of our thoughts bombard us with negativity all day long, from the minute we wake up, especially as women. And that is something, all of the way we think really can be changed with practice over time. So the first thing that we need to do, but it's not just as simple as learning it, you have to practice over time. That's the only way it really changes the brain.
Oh, it's like a muscle, right? It's like a muscle. You got to practice it. You got to keep rehearsing it so it becomes who you are. So yes, thank you for bringing that up.
It's neural networks. It's the way they fire, and we can strengthen the ones that bring us down, or we can choose to strengthen the ones that make us feel awesome.
Yes.
And even if it's not completely believable, if we incrementally tell ourselves positive stuff, we're building those networks and getting them to fire in a way that they probably have not fired since before. All these thoughts, like as little ones, we didn't have these negative thoughts. We just wanted to play and have fun. And then life happened. But we could train our brains to do this differently by every time. So the first strategy is reframing. When you reframe, what you're doing is capturing a negative thought. And at first, it's a slow thing that we do, but in time, with practice, it gets faster. You capture that negative thought, and you realistically say something positive about it. Like, you just look at your history and say, no, I've handled that in the past. I know what to do about overwhelm and chaos and when things are not perfect, because that's my life. And then you reframe it and say, I can handle this. Not, I'm overwhelmed, I'm confused, everything's complicated. That makes you small and brings you down. The other way, you're elevated, like, no, I could do this, and I'm going to do it magnificently the way I have done it in the past.
Yes, I got it. That mentality of I got it. Okay, and what's number two?
Number two might seem like it's completely unrelated, but it has a lot to do with retraining the brain, and that is building a foundation of gratitude. So it might seem like, oh, well, I'm grateful. I had this one patient that used to say, yeah, I'm grateful for my eyes, for my legs, for my this. And it was so lacking in gratitude, the way she would say it. It was like she was mocking it. And the truth is that every day is just a gift, and it doesn't matter what your belief system is. And when you could start writing down what you appreciate and are savoring and that's good in your life, and really take that into the fiber of your inner soul, then everything's going to look so much sweeter. Because we do. If you're watching this show, you have a lot to be grateful for. Just because you're here, and look at all the things that you had to do and have and be to get to this point.
It's so true. We always end our show with a gratitude attitude, and there's so much psychology behind that. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. Okay, so now moving to number 3.
Just one other thing about gratitude.
Okay, tell us.
I just want to say it is one of the keys to happiness, to true, authentic happiness. And most people have no idea that there's such a strong link, but it's a powerful link to true joy. So
okay, there you have it. Okay, and then we got to hear this. What's number 3?
Okay, 3 is the importance of connection, of making sure that you connect with somebody authentically, vulnerably, consciously, at least one person a day, because we all are part of the bigger picture, and when we feel like we're connected with somebody in a truthful, deep way, something changes in our brains that elevates us, because we all want to feel like we belong to the greater picture.
And what
is powerful.
It is. And what we're going to do now is I am going to connect with you even further in our game. So stay with us. You can't leave yet. Okay, Randi, you ready for the game?
I'm ready.
This is where we're going to connect with you, just like we talked about. So I'm hoping that you're grateful to be here and have this opportunity, right? Okay. So my first question for you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate American morals?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one right now. Do you feel as though things have shifted in the last 3.5 years?
Well, don't get me worked up, but yes, they've definitely shifted, and I think that energy is contagious. So when we're coming from a high, good place of kindness and love and generosity, it sort of generates that. And when we come from a place of smallness and constriction and worrying about, everything that I have and I own, it causes a constriction. And I mean, like so many people, I'm not happy with how I see people holding themselves right now. But I also think it's very subject to change.
It's absolutely subject to change. And I think we want to remember this can be in the workplace, this can be at home, with our kids, with our spouses, with our partners, anywhere really. And so it's just something to be cognizant of. So whether it's politics or anything else, it's just something to be cognizant of. So thank you for giving us a bigger vision of that. Okay, you ready for the next one?
I am.
Have your ethics changed through your life?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like the older I've gotten, the more I deeply care. I've always cared for other people. It's always mattered to me how other people feel. And now it's not that my ethics have changed, it's that my actions have changed. I want my actions to match more of how I feel in terms of making a difference. Very important to me during these years.
Oh, that's such a simple thing to say too. It's, that action. It can be something simple. Just doing something that pushes you just one step further to becoming the person that you want to be. So taking that action. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay.
Or being the person that you really are. Okay,
yes. Sorry. And then hiding it a little. Oh, you guys don't know. Sure. I have known Randi for a while, and we can talk for hours and hours and hours. Okay. What would you do if someone was cheating off your test? Real story. This has happened to me. What would you do? Has this happened to you, Randy? Where they knew you were the most brilliant person in the room, like, I'm going to cheat off, I'm going to go sit next to Randy.
Well, there was one kid that always did it. And because, he just did it. I know who, I'm still friends with him. I never told.
Yeah.
I never told. And I knew he did it. He knew he did it. So, what can I say?
And we can go off on a million tangents from there. But time has come to an end, although I would love to stay with you all day long. Dr. Randi, tell us how people can find out more about you.
Well, they could go to my website, and actually anybody that wants to go to my website could get some free videos just by signing up. And they're all about this morning retreat or morning ritual rather that I teach in my retreats and workshops. So it would give you a really beautiful little something to be practicing in the morning, and that is drrandikamen.com. Randi is with a Y. Kamen is Kamen.com. And I have lots of free content, videos, audios that you're, welcome to if you come to my site.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your brilliant wisdom. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Live streaming. How many of you have heard about it? Facebook Live, YouTube Live,
Instagram,
LinkedIn. It's crazy. It's popping up all over social media. And it is the best way for you to grow your confidence and to get your business to stand out among the competition. This is like the big secret that so many people don't realize.
And it's so true. I think we can both back up a little bit. Yeah. There used to be this thing called Periscope, and that's where we started. And
way back in the day.
Things move really quick these days. But that's where I learned how to do what I'm doing right now. Yep. Was just pushing myself to do it every single day for 30 days in a row. And then Ed, you did something similar. But now you train people on how to do it even better than we did.
And that's the thing. You have to start somewhere, right? And it doesn't matter which platform you go, wherever you're comfortable, or if you're just starting out where you're uncomfortable, because you have to break through that noise. You have to break out of your comfort zone. And I knew for myself, starting out, I hated being on camera. I hated hearing myself, and I just knew I messed up and everything. And when you're live, it's like, somebody's going to be like seeing this and commenting. And it's true, but you know what? I knew that for my business growth, I needed to be online, in person, because live broadcasting is the only way you can get in front of your ideal audience without having to actually physically be there.
And the cool part is when they start interacting with you.
Yes.
So you get to know them. So like you, I was totally scared, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I started worrying about, do I have a zit? Do I have my hair messed up? Do I need to whiten my teeth?
Yep.
All the things, or what I said was what I said stupid. But when you start having people interacting with you, it makes it way more fun. I kind of felt like they became my friends. Like I looked forward to seeing them, and vice versa.
Yeah, definitely. And so for you guys just getting started, just practice. You don't even have to go live on any network. You can literally just pick up your cell phone, go to your camera app, and open it up and turn it on video. Once you turn on video, you just hold it and you record and you look at yourself and you say, I am so awkward right now. I am da-da-da-da-da, and just go from there. But that's the first step, because then it gets you more comfortable. Because here's the thing, we really are our worst critics, and we think we did really bad, but I guarantee you it was not that bad. In fact, I have my friend Vicky, who is from the UK, who has watched my lives and followed me, and she was so afraid to be on live, very, very shy, got on my show because I told her she had to, and I told her to watch her replay, and you know what? That was 2 years ago, and she is on live almost every day with her confidence level through the roof, selling her products online and just having a ball. It is amazing, and it will change the game for you and your business. So go live.
Go live, and you may end up on this show. Who knows? All right, Ed, what do you got for us?
Okay, so how many of us have cereal for breakfast? Yeah, me too. And what about the name brand Kellogg's? Ring a bell?
Yeah.
I cannot believe this, but did you know the history of Kellogg's? Kellogg's actually started out as a mistake. Yeah, Kellogg's cornflakes.
What?
Started,
Tony the Tiger?
Yes, it started out as a mistake, and the oats were left out overnight by Will Kellogg, and he decided instead of throwing it out, he was going to try to use the rollers and see what happens. And it came out with a little cornflake. And from there, they realized they could sell that and that it was going to be the hit, and that took off.
Mistakes can work out in our favor. I know that Post-its, we'll talk about Post-its one of these days.
Yes.
That was from a mistake. So look what happened for the Kellogg's.
And that's the thing, when it comes to business and everything that we do, it leads us to the next big thing. So there's no failures in my book. It's always an opportunity that leads us to the next step.
Such an important thing to remember, because sometimes we can feel like it's failure after failure after failure, and we need these reminders. So thank you.
Yeah. What do you got?
Okay, so what I was listening to a podcast this morning. You know how I love podcasts. And I listened to this guy, Drew Davis. He has become very, very successful. He has a marketing company. He used to work on the Muppets. And he used to produce, I think, the Today Show. Back in the day, he was tied in with the Today Show somehow. And so he started a marketing company, and for whatever reason, I don't know why, he thought that part of that marketing company, there should be a documentary with it.
Okay.
So he wanted to do one on this gentleman named Michael Carmichael, how interesting is that? But this guy, Michael, wanted to save his town. He's from Alexandria, Indiana, and he wanted to save his town. So he decided to create this roadside stop by making these paintballs. What did he call them? Oh, he wanted to create the world's largest ball of paint.
Nice.
So apparently it started with like little baseballs, and people would come and paint them, and then they just grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
And so he kind of became known for this in this little town, which was not much. I guess in the 20s, 30s, 40s, it was a thriving town, but it had lost its luster.
Okay.
However, according to Drew Davis, who did the documentary, unfortunately, it did not save the town. The town is still really, really struggling. But I think it's that concept of let's try something. Instead of just staying back, let's try something and see what happens. And all I know is on this podcast, they talked about it. So
I love it. It's that yes and coming together.
Yes and here we go. All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mox Life Show, and you have a full page of notes and some ideas in your pocket of how to expand your world. And if you'd like some more, of course, you can go to the moxlife.com, where you can get some free tips and ideas to help you on your journey. I want to thank our beautiful Collabs, who has been so generous with us and letting us use their fantastic facility. And of course, as always, just like Dr. Randi talked about today, I want to leave you with the gratitude attitude. Every morning, practice waking up with 3 things that you're grateful for, and watch how your day unfolds. Till next time.